And if you're on the second game of a back-to-back and you're coming to Washington, D.C. to play the Wizards, you're probably not going to be, you know what I mean? You're not going to be too concerned about bringing all your energy up front. What's good, people? It's your boy KP, man. We are back with another NBA video, and tonight we're going to be talking about the game with the Philadelphia 76ers versus the Washington Wizards. If you haven't found out yet, I am a Washington Wizards fan. I'm probably going to say it on a bunch of videos. I have been a Washington Wizards fan since the Gilbert Arenas days, back when he was dropping 60 on Kobe Bryant, man. And that's all I really got to say from there. But tonight was very, very, very disappointing. And the number one reason why it was disappointing was because we had this game in the bag. And the consensus around the league and Wizards fans and the organization probably is that, hey, we want to keep our 2026 first round pick, which is top 8 protected, which pretty much means if we somehow fall out of the top 8, we could lose our draft pick. And we also have the rights to swap our draft pick with the Phoenix Suns if they somehow end up having a higher draft position than us. So we could rely on that as well. But for the most part, we are in a develop our young players semi/tank type season. Boy, it just felt like we threw the game away. It almost felt like we threw the game away on purpose. And we were up as much as 16 points at one point, if I'm not mistaken. And you know what, man? I'm just going to cut to the chase and share my screen really quick. I discovered this new website called StatMuse that pretty much showcases a lot of cool data behind NBA games and players and top performers. So I'm going to go ahead and share that screen. It's probably going to be something that I use going forward with my videos. And I think it's very interesting to help guide the conversation behind this game. Not going to be a long video, and I may talk about some other things as well, but I just had to get on here and talk about this game and voice my opinion on how I feel about this situation, man. So let's share my screen real quick. First things first, let me go ahead and share this future draft pick status screen really quick. As you can see, there's a lot. It goes way back to the Russell Westbrook trade with John Wall, and the Thunder has something to do with it with the Alperen Sengun trade. And then here's the situation where the Wizards have the option to swap the 2026 first round pick with the Suns. As you can see, there's a lot of details and there's a lot of background and history behind this 2026 first round pick. But there it is right there, people. We are officially tank commanders. We have players, coaches, and an organization that wants to tank. But you have to find a way to tank legally. So that's going to be the theme of this game right here. And I'm going to share this tab right here. Here is the website StatMuse. And here's going to show the top performers of the game. For whatever reason, they're not showing Alex Sarr as a top performer. They're only showing Philadelphia. And I guess because they won the game. But we got to, hold up, let's mess around, man. We got to see what the actual box score was. Let's see. Here we go. Here's the box score for the Wizards. I'm going to start off with the Wizards first. And first things first, Alex Sarr hit the ground running against Joel Embiid. One of the biggest things I noticed about him in this game was he wasn't scared of going at Joel Embiid. It almost seems like he was playing better because he was going against Joel Embiid. You can tell he wanted the ball. You can tell he wanted to score. He was trying to be aggressive, complete night and day type player versus last year. And he was taking the threes that were coming to him versus just jacking up threes. He's been trying to develop his inside out game, which is working out perfectly for him. And it definitely worked out this game. The Sixers kind of looked really sluggish to start this game off. Joel Embiid just looks like a shell of himself. Tyrese Maxey started off slow. The whole team started off slow. And at first I was like, okay, they're playing the Wizards, so they don't really think that they have to try as hard or have to commit on defense starting off. It turns out that they were actually on the second night of a back-to-back. So anytime you have a team on the second game of a back-to-back, their energy is always going to be a little bit different. And if you're on the second game of a back-to-back and you're coming to Washington, D.C. to play the Wizards, you're probably not going to be, you know what I mean? You're not going to be too concerned about bringing all your energy up front. But you can clearly see that the Wizards had the edge for pretty much the entire game up until the fourth quarter. And as you can see right here, Alex Sarr had 31 points, 5 assists, 2 steals, 2 blocks, plus minus was only 3. There's a lot that I can say about that. But overall, watching the game, him shooting 3 for 7 from 3, him being aggressive against Joel Embiid, him holding his own, him basically having I believe it was out of his 31 points, he had at least 20 at the half. That's how good of a first half he was having. And he ended up getting some crazy lazy fouls in the first quarter. And I was like, oh, they're about to pull him. But they kept him in the game and he held his own and didn't get into extra foul trouble. But pretty much, man, we had this game in the wraps all the way up until the fourth quarter. So as you can see, the first quarter, we scored 40 points in the first quarter. Unfortunately, we held Philly to 32, which is crazy, but it is 2025 NBA. But we scored 40. Then they made a little run in the second quarter. I believe it was a close game going to the half. Then to start the third, we went on like a 20 to 8 run at one point. It was something crazy like that. But we still ended up closing out the third quarter, outscoring them by 12 points. And as you can see right here in the fourth quarter, 32-16 fourth quarter, and the game went into overtime. And let me just go back to the box score, man. I'm going to get to the Sixers. I know people don't necessarily want to hear everything about the Wizards, but the main reason why we even went to overtime in the first place, outside of us just being outplayed in the fourth quarter, was when it came down to those last 2 minutes, we could not execute. We were stumbling, fumbling the ball. All they did was full court presses, and we just were discombobulated. But after that fumbled of a fourth quarter and we headed into overtime, it just felt like we were just making the weirdest plays. We had the weirdest lineups, and it just seems like we were throwing the game. And Chris Middleton actually missed the game winner. It was an ISO play. He had Quentin Grimes on him. Quentin Grimes played some great freaking defense. Much Middleton got a ISO play at the top of the block, the left block. Bread and butter for this guy. He kind of does a jab, does his little step back, pump fakes, because Quentin Grimes is playing really good defense, but he still gets the shot off. And when I tell you it was short, but it was so short to the point where it bounced up and you thought it was going to bounce in. But if he had just a little bit more and a little bit more legs under it, it would have been game winner splash like the old Middleton that we're used to seeing. But you can just tell that he just doesn't have it anymore. And it looks like CJ is headed in that direction as well. Yeah, he only played 5 minutes in the fourth quarter. They didn't even have Joel Embiid in the fourth quarter or overtime. All of those points came in the first 3 quarters pretty much. And as you can see, Tyrese Maxey dropped 39 points. He has been on a tear. VJ Edgecombe has been on a tear. I think VJ was pretty much in foul trouble majority of the game, so he didn't really have the game that we've been seeing the past 3. He didn't really play as well as we've seen him play in the past 3 games. But one thing that stood out to me with VJ Edgecombe is the fact that he was hitting his threes. He went 4 for 8 for 3. And that was one of the biggest things about him coming into the NBA is we know this guy is a professional young player. We know he knows how to conduct himself. We know he's athletic. We know he's going to work hard, but can he hit those jumpers? Can he master that aspect of his game? And this man is more than meeting expectations at this point. I was very shocked at how he was hitting closeout threes, not even wide open. We're talking about and 1 threes. I'm pretty sure he got 2 and 1 threes in this game alone. And we just could not hold Quentin Grimes on the bench at all. And a big thing about this matchup as well was VJ Edgecombe versus Trey Johnson. Trey Johnson probably had his worst game so far as a rookie. But as you can see, the worst game as a rookie, 10 points, 4 for 11, could be a little better. That was kind of terrible. 2 for 7 from 3. But at least 2 of those threes spun and rimmed out. So that easily could have been 4 for 7. And you can tell from watching the game that when the fourth quarter hit, it's like the 76ers was like, hold up, wait, yo, we about to lose. And it was getting down to like 3 minutes. In the fourth quarter, we were up by 10 with 3 minutes left in the game. And you can tell the 76ers were like, hold up now. We can't lose to the Wizards now. We can't beat the Dallas Mavericks. And you could just feel the energy in the fourth quarter shift, but you can really feel the intensity in the last 3 minutes. We were up so big. This is Philadelphia. We got the rest of the season to lose. We should have found a way to pull this one off, and we can tank the rest of the year. Let's start the year off winning, and then let's lose later. Like, that's my motto. But overall, a good game. I was so impressed with Alex Sarr. I was so impressed with his team. I was actually shocked that we were even in a position to really win this game by a huge margin, but we just could not finish. And I think a lot of that is attributed to Bub Carrington not handling the pressure in the fourth quarter, the veterans, CJ McCollum and Chris Middleton, not really being clutch veterans in the fourth quarter like we want them to be, and in overtime. And then it just felt like the organization did not care if we won. And I get it. The theme of the year is, if we lose, the theme of this year is we don't care about losing as long as we compete. And we competed, but that victory just would have felt so good. It would just felt so sweet. And I feel like our loss spoiled Alex Sarr's big night. And this is probably going to be the narrative for the rest of the season. Shout out to the 76ers. Shout out to VJ Edgecombe. He thoroughly surprised me. This is my first time watching him play in an actual game outside of preseason and summer league. And he is very impressive. He is going to potentially be in the running for Rookie of the Year. I think he has a chance to win Rookie of the Year over Cooper Flagg. The fact that his jump shot is doing what it's doing is even more reason to root for him in that Rookie of the Year race, because he clearly had to put in some work for his jumper to be going down that smooth, man. But overall, that's how I feel, man. I think Wizards Nation feels the same, and I think Philadelphia fans are just thankful that they didn't have to suffer an embarrassing loss to the Wizards. But as you guys can see from this game, Philly fans and NBA and other fans, we're not here to get beat down. We're here to fight. We got embarrassed by the Charlotte Hornets and LaMelo Ball them, and we just were not trying to have that again. And unfortunately, Tyrese Maxey did the same thing that LaMelo Ball did to us, minus the triple-double. But yeah, man, I just had to come in here and make a video and talk about how I felt about this game. And